In this video, I will be teaching basic knot tying, including the square knot, the bowline knot, 2 half hitches, and the slip knot. These various knots can be used for any number of things in any number of combinations and will prove useful throughout your life. At any time in this video, your Scoutmaster may pause it to allow you to practice the knots shown. The square knot is a basic knot used to tie 2 ropes of the same size together or tie the same rope to itself again to create a continuous loop. Tying it is fairly simple. First, we cross the left end of the rope over the right. Then, cross again, as if tying your shoes. Then we simply repeat the process, crossing the right end this time over the left. This can be summarized by the simple rule, left over, right over. Once you have crossed twice, pull the knot tight. It will hold securely under a fair amount of weight. To loosen it, simply take hold of both ends and push together. This knot can be used for any number of things, including hooking 2 shorter ropes together to form a longer one, or hanging things from a door, for instance. The bowline or rescue knot is a knot used to form a loop that will not come undone no matter what stress is put on it, save if the rope itself breaks. To tie it, we need to start by making a loop in the standing end of the rope. By standing end, I mean the end that you will not be using to tie the knot itself. So, we make a loop, making sure that the crossed end of the rope is on the top. Then, we will take the tying end of the rope and thread it out of that loop, around the standing end of the rope, and back into the loop. A simple mnemonic to remember this is that the rabbit comes out of the hole, goes around the tree, and comes back down into the hole. Once you have reinserted the rope through the knot, pull it taut. This knot will not give and will not slip if tied properly, and can be used to suspend things of great weight, which is why it is referred to as the rescue knot, because it can be used to attach to someone and pull them free from a dangerous situation. If tying the knot around yourself, be sure to leave a little bit of slack so that it can slide up under your armpits. Our third knot is actually 2 knots in one. It is referred to as 2 half hitches. This is a knot used to attach something to a post or a tree or a log or really anything. We start out by looping the rope around the object we're going to attach it to, like so. Then we will cross the tying end of the knot over the standing end, forming a loop. Then take the tying end and thread it back through its own loop, creating a small knot. You will then take the tying end and create yet another loop further down the standing end, pull the tying end through the loop, and pull it taut. Once taut, this rope can actually be adjusted. The knot can be moved closer or farther from the object it's tied to. This allows you to do things with this knot like secure a tent by tying tent stakes to it and then tightening the knot down so that the line is taut. The last knot I will be teaching today is called the slip knot, and it's one of my favorites. The slip knot is something that we refer to as a trick knot, in that once you tie it, it can be loosened simply by pulling on either end of the rope, as long as it's not secured around something. So, in order to tie the slip knot, we will need to once again make a large loop. Cross the tying end over the standing end, leaving plenty of room. Then, take hold of the loop, putting a finger on the cross point between the tying and standing end, and flip the loop over the standing end. Then, take hold of the tying end and standing end, and take hold of the rope in the middle of your loop. Pull on both, and you will create the slip knot. Once tied, this can be used to constrict or hold anything that is held within it, because it can be tightened with a simple pull. As I will now demonstrate, having secured the standing end of the rope to a refrigerator door, and simply pulling on the other end. Voila! The knot is gone. Now, I'm going to ask you to use your imagination a little. You are a Boy Scout out on a camping trip, and you need to boil water in order to make dinner. However, you don't have a stand to keep your pot or kettle above the fire. What do? It's simple enough to make a makeshift stand out of rope. First, take a crosspiece, something you will use to suspend the kettle or pot from, and mount it over the fire, high enough so that it won't get burned. Then, take the rope and affix it to the crosspiece using 2 half hitches. You will then affix the other end of the rope to the kettle using a bowline knot, for instance, or really anything else. Tie the tying end of the rope, if it's too long, back up to the crosspiece to keep it out of the fire. Then, simply tighten down the half hitches, raising the kettle over the fire and allowing you to boil your water. To summarize, in this video, we have learned a series of knots. First, we learned the square knot, a knot used to tie 2 ropes of the same size together. Then, we learned the bowline, or rescue knot, a knot used to make a loop that won't slide. Then, we learned 2 half hitches, a knot used for affixing a rope to a set point, but allowing it to be tightened and loosened as needed. Then, we learned the slip knot, a trick knot which can be used to hold things or to tighten them. Finally, we learned how to use several knots in conjunction to accomplish a task. Your Scoutmaster may now pause the video and allow you further time to practice.